Welcome to the Binge and Play Show. My name's Andrew, and I'm here just a guy talking to you about movies, TV, video games, and any other hot media pop culture. I'm rounding out the new year, giving my top 10 favorite movies of the year. I have a little cheat sheet here, and these were the movies I enjoyed the most that came out in the calendar 2024 year, both theatrical releases and streaming services. So number 10 is Night Bitch. A lot of you probably have not even seen this movie yet. It's not been super wide, but I had the privilege of viewing this actually at an early showing in a film festival, a local film festival. That was really my first film festival experience. It was basically just a regular movie they gave a score for. But I was able to see Night Bitch, I think back in August or September, and I was really surprised at this movie. I was very intrigued by the premise of it, of this woman kind of sick of the regular suburban mom life, turns into a dog. Thought it was really out there. Heard Amy Adams is really good, and this movie just had a lot more substance to what I thought it would. It had a good message, a good meaning, actually had something to say, and was also just kind of a fun, weird, silly movie that didn't take itself too seriously, but took it seriously enough when it needed to. I'd highly recommend seeing this. Number 9 movie, Monkey Man. This movie that got a lot of mixed opinions due to some political nature, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. This was kind of your typical Rocky styled action film based in India, and it just had a lot of fun action pieces, kind of your stereotypical starting from the bottom, working their way up to fight the big head boss on some kind of economic, cultural sides. But I was just really engaged with this movie, enjoyed all the action, thought it had some good actual filmmaking, some good lighting, intriguing scene, and something that doesn't really come out in modern American media. Number 8, Smile 2. This was the sequel to Smile a few years back. It was more or less the same premise of the first movie, but on just a much bigger scale. This movie kind of messed me up. It was just creepy. You never knew what was real, what wasn't. Kind of a smile virus that infects you, kind of messes with your head. And just being in the audience, it messed me up too. It had some great sound. I think I saw this in Dolby, I'm pretty sure. And just that like extra sound experience all around you. I was just on the edge of my seat the entire movie. I have not been that kind of creeped out from a horror movie in quite a while. And then this movie just has this huge ending. I'm trying not to spoil this huge ending. The credits play, and these credits are just these creepy music. I got out of that theater so fast. I was not about to stick around, but I was just so enthralled and engaged and absorbed up by this movie. Number 7, another movie with some mixed opinions, is Furiosa, the Mad Max saga. I enjoyed this a lot. I'm not necessarily a Mad Max fan. I saw Fury Road 8 or so years ago, 10, whenever it came out. Enjoyed that a lot. That's my Mad Max experience. Haven't watched the early films, and didn't necessarily know what I was signing up for, having not watched Mad Max Fury Road in such a long time. But watching Chris Hemsworth, I think that's the right Hemsworth brother, and Anya Taylor-Joy kind of go back and forth, and just the world. I loved the world, the political kind of factions. When they were going back and forth on the road, I was just so into the universe, the very unique style, the hyperized color of it, the kind of unique editing nature. I enjoyed that movie a lot. Number 6, all right, this is my hottest take in my top 10 here, was Mean Girls, the musical. I know most people hated this movie because they didn't advertise it as a musical. But I was a little familiar with Renee Rapp. I enjoyed the stuff she's been in, was very intrigued and excited to see her in this musical, and I just liked it a lot. I thought it hit a lot of the same points the original Mean Girls did. Was just a fun watch and very underappreciated. The part that stuck out to me the most was this Halloween party. I'm pretty sure it's a Halloween party, and just the dance scene and the lighting and the cinematography of that scene was honestly one of my favorite scenes of the year. But this movie just got so much hate because it was a musical, because it was a little different. They, made it a little more appropriate for today's time. But I enjoyed it almost as much as the original. A Real Pain, saw this another one at a film festival, just like a week or two before it came out, but just took the opportunity to see it early. It's a very unique film with Eisenberg and Culkin, kind of playing these cousins going to Poland because their grandma's will gave them money to do that. And they kind of went on a tour learning about what it was like to be a Jew back in the time of World War II. They visited a concentration camp, and it was really very much a character-driven story, where Macaulay Culkin kind of played the character he always plays, a little sadder maybe. And Jesse Eisenberg was kind of the stuck-up, working man, family man type person a little bit, who always follows the rules, and they just kind of clashed on this trip. And it was just interesting because Macaulay Culkin was kind of the type of person most people wouldn't associate with, think he's kind of weird, talk behind his back about, he does some really weird stuff. That's all what the characters in the movie did, but then they also show all these big moments from World War II that have remained in the environment around Poland. Just the scene of going through the concentration camp just added even more to the film, and I don't know, it just was somewhat of an emotional trip for a variety of reasons. Number 4, one of the top movies of the year among the public is Wicked Part 1. I am not a Wicked fan at all. Never seen the musical. I've just heard a few songs, naturally. Defying Gravity, just from pop culture, hearing these songs. My knowledge on the original musical was basically zero going in, besides I know it's a prequel about the Wicked Witch from Wizard of Oz, and that was pretty much my knowledge. I was super hesitant on the casting, to be honest. I was like, Ariana Grande hasn't acted in ages. We're just kind of picking some other people. I guess we'll just see what it is. But I really enjoyed this movie. I was really into it. I thought the world design was amazing. I loved John Woo's choreography from his previous musicals, and I think that just carried on to even a bigger stage of this musical. There's a lot of hate for the lighting among film critics. The lighting honestly didn't bother me. I didn't notice it. Maybe if I looked out for it, it would bother me. But just thought the acting was top notch. The singing was top notch. It was supposedly what I've heard, a very strong adaptation from the original musical, and I'm very excited to see the next part next year. Cracking into my top 3 is Anora, a less popular general media movie, but it's getting a lot of Best Picture talk and buzz about Anora, a sex worker who marries this guy from Russia, I think he's from, his family. They blow a bunch of money. Then there's kind of some drama of his family doesn't realize he's married. They don't want it to happen because she's a sex worker. And following her journey through these couple days where all these events are happening, and then just kind of like how she values herself and thinks she can just solve a lot of conflict and her own problems by doing what she's familiar with, being a sex worker. Mikey Madsen was great in this movie. She'd probably be my best actress pick, and it just was fully supported by everyone else in the cast. A very unique story, a very funny movie, actually. But it's just fast moving. It's keeps you engaged the entire time. You're always wondering what's happening next, and then the outcome is kind of just left to reflect on what happened. But probably my picking from the Oscar movies that are in contention, that was probably my current pick to be Best Picture. Number 2, a movie I literally just saw a day or two ago, Nosferatu. This is super excited for my movie. Robert Eggers has been a director I have some mixed opinions on. I think he's amazing at what he does. Puts so much research and so much detail in his movies, but they just haven't always worked for me. Thought The Witch was pretty good, a good, strong movie. The Lighthouse, not my favorites, but I recognize really well executed. And then The Northman, being this bigger budget, a little bit more mainstream, a little less weird Robert Eggers. I super enjoyed when that movie came out. Then moving into a little bit more kind of traditional horror movie. I was more excited, a lot of recognizable actors and actresses in this movie, and I loved it. There's the opening 20-30 minutes where they're first going to the castle on the journey to see Nosferatu. The unique filming, the lighting, the sound, the kind of hidden nature of Nosferatu and what he's going to become was some of the best filmmaking I've seen in a while. The movie, it peaked really in that first 30 minutes, slowed down a little bit, but had a very strong ending. Just had the whole sense of dread the entire time. I was just really into this movie. I would watch it again. I probably would if there wasn't too many movies out. This was a perfect 10 out of 10 filmmaking wise movie. I think it couldn't have been better. But my number 1 was Dune 2. I was a little bit between Dune 2 and Nosferatu, but I ultimately gave it to Dune 2 because what that movie accomplishes is just on such a huge scale. From the huge world that Dune is, the whole universe. There's so much to it. The scene of riding the sandworms was probably the most favorite scene of any film, and if you ask the general population, of the year. And again, I just got so involved in this world and how the scale from the first movie to the second movie became huge. I mean, I know it's based on a book, which I haven't read, but how just the scale is so much bigger. It's perfectly done. The performances are amazing. Just a science fiction movie in general is amazing. Honestly, this could be regarded as high as Star Wars, potentially. Being Star Wars stole a bunch of Dune things. But I think the third movie, the final trilogy, will just be a perfect nail in the coffin. And I can't wait to see what else this could bring. But that rounds up my top 10 list. Thank you for watching. I'll be reviewing more movies and TV shows to come.